So we're going to walk through just the basics of the generator. I want to walk through the different attachments that you actually see on here. Now, this generator we put together for demonstration purposes. The generator that you're going to be getting can look completely different. There are different types of generators, but there's some very specific main components that you want to look for on the generator, or that are part of the generator. One of the ones that I want to talk about right now on this generator is actually the destruct. Now you can see the destruct is on here. I don't want you to really worry about that right now, but the purpose of the destruct is that it takes the excess ozone, it goes into here and it turns it back into oxygen. The main components of the generator though are going to be on the back end here. There will always be an in port where the oxygen is actually going in. So this will be coming from the tank, actually coming from your regulator, from this directly into where the oxygen goes in. And then this port right here is actually where the ozone comes out. So these are very important. So whatever attachment you're utilizing for the ozone, this is the port that you're actually putting that in. So where it says ozone out. So oxygen in, ozone out. The other main components of the generator are going to be this chart right here. The concentration chart on the ozone generator is an essential chart because it's going to help guide you to the actual concentration of ozone you're utilizing when you are using ozone. So the concentration chart on this side is the micrograms per milliliter. That is the concentration. You can see on here it ranges from as low as 7 up to 71. That's most commonly known as the gamma. And so depending on the procedure or the process that you're using it for, so whether it's rectal insufflation, ear insufflation, you may be going somewhere on the 18 down here or the 47. How you get that number is based on where you're setting your regulator. So these are the settings or the flow sets that you're going to be putting your regulator to. So if you go back to seeing what the regulator does, you'll see the number 0 here. You can actually turn that. So all the numbers on your regulator correlate directly to this. So you would set your regulator, say, at a 6. That's going to automatically get you a concentration gamma of 28. If you're to adjust it to, say, a 3, you come down here, the setting on your regulator is a 3, so that's going to give you an ozone concentration or gamma of 13. So the concentration of the ozone is actually how strong that ozone is. The micrograms per milliliter, that gamma, is the concentration, or say the thickness of the ozone that's actually coming out of the ozone output. To set up the machine to actually be ready to do an ozone therapy, we've got our tank, we have our regulator, everything is turned on and ready to go. Right now, the actual regulator is set to 0, so there's no outflow of oxygen coming through here. As we discussed before, our generator has an oxygen input. So what we take is our silicone tubing. We can see we have open ends on both. We want to actually insert the tubing on the regulator, just like that. Make sure that it's all the way up and tight. And then you take the other end of the tube to the oxygen in. So once we have that in, the ozone generator is not on at this point. If we were to open up our oxygen tank, which we open that up, right now, only oxygen is actually flowing directly in here, and only oxygen is coming out of the ozone output. Once we turn the generator on, what that does is it puts an electrical current through the oxygen, and now you're going to get ozone coming out of the ozone out port. So whatever device, whether it's a rectal insufflation, ear insufflation, syringe, whatever is going on to here is actually going to fill that syringe with ozone. And how you set the concentration then of what you want in that device or wherever you're going to be putting that ozone, you're going to set this regulator to that setting. So let's say that we want a concentration of 57. I'm actually going to turn the regulator to 10. So once I get it to 10, now I know that the oxygen coming through, generating ozone into the syringe, we're going to come across, we're going to have 57 gamma. So to make sure that we're actually making ozone, we have to have the oxygen on, regulator on, and going through the ozone generator. If you have just the oxygen on, but the ozone generator is not turned on, you only are going to have oxygen flowing. If you don't have the oxygen on and the generator's on, nothing is happening either. You have to make sure that they're both actually working together at the same time. So you will turn on your oxygen. Once the oxygen is flowing, you want to set the power on your generator. Once that's on, now you are actually getting ozone coming out of the ozone output. Ozone therapy is actually very simple. Once you have your setup, you have your oxygen, your regulator, your tubing going to the generator, all you have to do is actually connect to the ozone out port, once it is on, the ear insufflation, rectal insufflation, or your syringe, whatever you're using, just make sure that you have that on that output. One of the things that I really want to make clear is that the ozone generator that I'm utilizing through all these education videos is probably going to look different than the ozone generator that you're going to get. But there's some very similar things, and in fact, exact similar things that you're going to notice. First and foremost is you're going to have the concentration chart. That chart is going to be on any ozone generator that comes your way. So from the flow settings to the ozone concentration, that is all going to be the same. The other part that is going to be the same, and is always a must, so don't worry, is the oxygen in port. It may not be right here, it could be on the side, but you will always have the oxygen in and the ozone out. So I want to make sure that those are the key components that you feel comfortable with when utilizing your ozone generators specifically.